Well, here we are on the road again, or at least myself. The rest of the guys are still down south. We had a lot of fun cranking out episodes as fast as we could, and if you watch those videos, hopefully you got an idea of a little bit of what it's like producing semi-live, almost day of content. We've got people hunting, we've got people editing, guys working on thumbnails, guys working on podcasts. So we're off to a great start for the 2023 turkey tour, and right now I'm headed back north to go to Nebraska, to go to my hometown and bow hunt turkeys there.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Look at that tail fan.
So I'm excited to get there, spend some time hunting with my dad, and obviously things look quite a bit different than where I have been for the past 2 weeks. It's been in the 70s and 80s. It's green down there, and here we are, kind of taking a step back in time. It seems like, you know, everything's brown here. Turkeys are still flocked up, but I should roll into Nebraska here mid-afternoon, get everything kind of resituated, cameras charged, bow shot, make sure everything's still sighted in, and then head out to the field, do a little bit of scouting, and then try to put these birds to roost this evening.
All right, it's about 5:30 right now. I'm slipping around and get to a spot where I can watch over this field. But this glass here real quick, make sure there's nothing out right here. There's no turkeys right here, but there's a shed. Oh, look at that. There we go. That is a really nice buck for this particular property. I haven't found a fresh shed out here in a long time. Just slipping up the backside of this hill. There's a big clump of cedars right there. I'm gonna sneak through those cedars and go watch over that big field. I literally pop up over the top. There's a nice 5-point side. Maybe there's a match somewhere around here, but I got turkeys on the brain right now. But that's a pretty cool find. Definitely been some turkeys working this cornfield here. Pretty well scratched up. More tracks, gobbler track. There's turkeys right below me here in the field. I'm gonna get the camera set up here, but that's a good start. A shed and some turkeys. Longbeards. I got a little mixed flock of turkeys down below me here. It's a good thing I have this cover to work through because they weren't very far away. I didn't intend to get this close to them. I'd assumed they'd be a little farther out into the field, but they're just right along this edge right here. It's pretty cool watching a longbeard scratching right here, maybe 100 yards away. So off to an exciting start here in Nebraska. Fighting, got a fight going on. Look at that. Whole pile of longbeards. Jakes, all in the mix. Sorting it out. Well, that was a pretty good fight going on there, but I can still see there's more turkeys down below me here, so I'm gonna slide down, grab a little bit better cover, and just continue to watch what's going on here. That's what I wanted to see. There's a little bit bigger group. I was just watching these two gobblers down here. I heard the hen call off to my right, and here's a bigger group, maybe 20 hens, several longbeards in there, all of them strutting. This may be looking a little bit better than from what my dad saw this morning, because he didn't see very many over on this side, not nearly as many as we typically see. But now it seems like there's more of them congregating out in this field here. There they go up in the timber. That's pretty much almost exactly where I'd hope they go. Man, what an evening. This is absolutely gorgeous. There, they're fighting again. They've worked their way up into the timber right now and are probably gonna start flying up here soon, but just a minute ago, I saw those two gobblers walk right up the field edge and literally walked right past the blind that my dad and I set up during the middle part of the day. I'm glad we ended up doing that, because right now we've got two blinds in place set up about 150 yards apart. The one my dad set up is right where those two gobblers walked, and we've got another blind set up about 150 yards to the north of there in some cedar trees in a spot where my dad watched those birds pitch down this morning before they eventually worked their way out into the field, and it's an area where I've seen turkeys pitch down to often in the past. But anyways, I'm gonna slip out here, go back, get everything geared up, ready to go for the morning. My dad and I are gonna go in early tomorrow and be right below where those turkeys are roosted tonight. Hopefully they'll be fired up in the morning and gobbling good and putting on a show. we go. Dad and I got in extra early this morning because we're within about 100 to 125 yards of all these turkeys on the roost. And in this spot, we use the terrain to get in as close as possible. And my dad is just around the corner and just out of sight of the turkeys. And where I'm at, I snuck in behind this berm and popped up over the top and just crawled out and set up the decoys because the turkeys are, obviously within sight of my blind here. And over the years, we found that we can get in, surprisingly tight to birds on the roost, and not just here in Nebraska, but anywhere we've turkey hunted. The key is to give yourself plenty of time, more time than you think that you need, and make sure that it's still totally dark so you can afford to go slow, not make an excessive amount of noise. And of course, we're not using any lights getting set up here. But as you can tell, there's a bunch of birds in here. The gobblers are tearing it up. And yesterday, when my dad watched the birds come off the roost, they pitched down right in front of where we position the blinds. So hopefully, they're gonna do the same thing this morning. But in the past, we've seen them, and especially the hens, will pitch way out into the middle of the field, which of course would put us out of the game if they fly out over the top of us. But the good thing is, the gobblers usually fly down first. They fly down earlier than the hens, and they just kind of hang out around the roost site. So if the hens do pitch out over the top of us, the gobblers will usually just get beat feet to meet up with the hens out in the field, which will hopefully bring them by myself or my dad. So either way, I think we've got a pretty good chance this morning. In fact, it sounds like there's some gobblers on the ground right now, so I better get ready here. There they go. They're pitching out. They're gonna fly right over the top of us. Look at that. There they are. There they are. Going right to my dad. Here we go. Come on, Dad. Got him. Got him. Yeah. Dad got one down. Perfect shot. Perfect. Oop. The other one might be coming back to flog it. Actually, he might be coming my way. Maybe we were going to get a double there for a second. My dad shot that bird just laying right there. That other one kind of went back like it was going to flog it, and then it peeled off real quick and started running towards me. I stopped, looked, started running at me again. And I thought for sure he was just gonna come all the way in. But I think he could see down to where all those turkeys were out in the field, and he just decided that's where he wanted to go. Perfect shot. It busted up the blade. Yeah, it did, didn't it? Well, at least it got
Take a turkey for a broadhead any day.
Got the job done. Man, look at that fan. That's beautiful. Big old paintbrush.
Better get out of here. I think I saw him crested there, and I lost sight of him just for a little bit. We got through this swale and came up.
I guess that's a good thing when they do all pitch out like that. At least the toms are usually down first, and then they'll come through.
When all the hens were in the field, I glassed and didn't see any toms.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought I might be in the game, or you, either one of us.
Then yesterday you said they pitched out over where I was at.
Right.
And then today they all fly out in the middle of the field, so you never really know what they're gonna do.
Different every day. Makes it interesting.
Well, my dad and I snapped a few pictures. Just got back to the vehicles, and it sounds like that we're gonna do a prescribed fire over on our family farm today, which is just adjacent to where my dad and I were hunting this morning. I'm gonna go grab a quick bite to eat, and then we're gonna burn this afternoon, which is fun. I haven't been on a burn in a long time. I'm usually gone this time of the year on turkey tour, but I'm glad I'm back around today to be able to help, and I'm excited that my dad was able to get one. Awesome, awesome morning. Couldn't have asked for anything better.
All right, here we are. It's March 28th, still here in Nebraska. And as you can tell, the landscape has changed a little bit since my dad shot that bird a couple days ago. Had beautiful weather that day. We did a prescribed fire on the family farm that afternoon, and then the next day was snowpocalypse. It was forecasted for 1 to 3 inches of snow, and instead we got 8 inches of heavy, wet snow. So things have gotten a lot tougher here in the past couple days. Yesterday morning I hunted, and it was brutally cold. It was 11 degrees, but I had a pretty funny encounter with a couple of toms and jakes. They came off the roost, and I was in a good position. I thought I was gonna get a shot at one. They pitched all the way across the valley, lit on my side, about 80 yards away, just over a knoll. Called to them, brought them in. They got to about 40 yards, held up, and you could tell they just had very little interest, pale-headed. Jakes were standing there on one leg. I mean, they just looked cold and miserable. But anyways, they just lost interest, turned around and left. So anyways, the birds have been really subdued the past couple days, just really not doing much. Very little vocalizing, very little strutting. And usually this time of the year, if we have, even close to normal weather, birds are pretty active throughout the morning, vocalizing. Gobblers are strutting with the hens, a little bit of a lull during the middle part of the day, and then it kind of fires back up in the evening. But here the last couple of days, I mean, it's almost like they're back in winter survival mode. I mean, it's just been really subdued. The birds aren't moving much. They're just kind of hanging out on these hillsides and berms where they can get the sunlight and try to stay warm, and just scratching around, feeding a little bit. So there's just, never ceases to amaze me the different conditions that a traveling turkey hunter can encounter in a short amount of time. Because just a few days ago, I was down in Mississippi, it was in the 80s, drive 14 hours north, and here we are in Nebraska with 8 inches of snow on the ground. It feels like it just went from summer to winter, so it's kind of all over the place. You get to experience all these different landscapes and conditions and scenarios throughout the turkey's range. So, but right now, I think Aaron went back home, and Ted, Jake, and Nick are in Texas. So I think they're doing some scouting for the turkey season, and also trying to get in some hog hunting and maybe even some javelina hunting. So they're having fun down there, and I'll be joining them here in a couple days as well. So looking forward to getting down south again, a little bit warmer weather, and getting to chase Rios in Texas. So that's gonna be it for the Nebraska trip for now. Try to make it back through here at some point this spring yet. But anyways, as you've seen on this trip, we're primarily hunting from blinds, hunting flocked up birds here on private land. But if you want to watch something a little bit different, click on this video here. This is a hunt that I had on public land, kind of run and gun, mobile style of hunting, self-filming with a bow. Anyways, thank you guys for the support and following along with us, and we'll see you next down south in Texas.